Roman 7th English Sermon Manuscript. Today we will make an observation of Romans chapter 2 verses 17 to 29 NRSV. Let's read Romans chapter 2 verses 17 to 20. But if you call yourself a Jew and rely on the law and boast of your relation to God and know His will and determine what is best because you are instructed in the law, and if you are sure that you are a guide to the blind, a light to those who are in darkness, a corrector of the foolish, a teacher of children, having in the law the embodiment of knowledge and truth. The Jew in Rome might despise the proselyted Gentile who attended their meeting in the synagogue to hear the Old Testament Bible as a Christian. The Jews might have a tendency to think themselves as a guide to the blind for the proselyted Gentiles, and accordingly they tried to teach them in various ways. But teaching in words only is less influential than practicing. Furthermore, Rome was not Jerusalem. Domestic and social ethics in Rome and Jerusalem would be different to each other. Even though they were the Jews, they should not value themselves to be righteous in the Lord's sight as far as they live in Rome. Especially the Jews break the law in front of Gentiles whom they wanted to teach. The harmful effect would not be negligible. There are knowledge and truth in the law of God. Paul said that the only and proper way to show the law is through the Jews. The Gentiles could see the word of law through the Jews' life and way of thinking. The Jews had a strong self-confidence in regard to the law, and they tend to teach the Gentiles, especially proselytes. Paul said there are 4 types of teaching. Firstly, a guide to the blind. Secondly, a light to those who are in darkness. Thirdly, corrector of the foolish. And fourthly, a teacher of children. A guide to the blind and the corrector of the foolish tend to become a forced guidance by the leader. And the light to those who are in darkness and teacher of children tend to become a cooperative guidance between the leader and the follower. Let's read Romans chapter 2, verses 21 to 24. You then that teach others, will you not teach yourself? While you preach against stealing, do you steal? You that forbid adultery, do you commit adultery? You that abhor idols, do you rob temples? You that boast in law, do you dishonor God by breaking the law? For it is written, the name of God is blasphemed among the Gentiles because of you. I don't think we need any further explanation on what Paul said to the Roman church. Let's read Romans chapter 2, verse 25 to 29. Circumcision indeed is of value if you obey the law, but if you break the law, your circumcision has become uncircumcision. So, if those who are uncircumcised keep the requirements of the law, will not their circumcision be regarded as circumcision? Then those who are physically uncircumcised but keep the law will condemn you that have the written code and circumcision, but break the law. For a person is not a Jew who is one outwardly, nor is true circumcision something external and physical. Rather, a person is a Jew who is one inwardly, and real circumcision is a matter of the heart. It is spiritual and not literal. Such a person receives praise not from others but from God. Among all the contents of letters which Paul wrote and sent to the churches in Asia or Greece, only in this part he wrote a different salvation theory from his usual gospel. Therefore, we should find and understand what Paul wrote in this part of his letter to Roman church. Paul did not argue the real meaning of Jewish circumcision in this letter. He just wanted to talk about a Jewish superiority complex as a chosen people by God, dialectically. Paul said that the uncircumcised keep the requirements of the law. It is not possible phenomenon. The Jews should keep all the requirements of the law by force. The Gentiles would not be punished legally in case they break the requirements of the Jewish law, as far as it is not specified in their national law. The Jews are under legal surveillance whether they keep the law or not, and as a matter of fact, they would be persecuted officially when they were found that they broke the law. Under the circumstances like these, how could the Gentile keep all the requirements of the law of God? We could find out that it was only dialectical expression. Let's read Genesis chapter 17, verses 9 to 11 and 14. God said to Abram, "As for you, you shall keep my covenant, you and your offspring after you throughout their generations. This is my covenant, which you shall keep between me and you and your offsprings after you. Every male among you shall be circumcised. You shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskins, and it shall be a sign of the covenant between me and you. Any uncircumcised male who is not circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin shall be cut off from his people. He has broken my covenant. The circumcision should be done on the flesh of male foreskins. It should be done externally and physically, and not inwardly on the heart. The circumcision should be done externally and physically. By this time, I would introduce you the English translation of the New English Bible for Romans chapter 2, verses 25 to 29. Circumcision has value, provided you keep the law. But if you break the law, then your circumcision is as if it had never been. Equally, if an uncircumcised man keeps the precepts of the law, will he not count as circumcised? He may be uncircumcised in his natural state, but by fulfilling the law, he will pass judgment on you who break it. For all your written code and your circumcision. The true Jew is not he who is such in externals, Neither is the true circumcision the external mark in the flesh. The true Jew is he who is such inwardly, and the true circumcision is heart, directed not by written precepts, but by the Spirit. Such a man receives his commendation not from man, but from God. Let's compare the English translation of the New Revised Standard Version with the New English Bible for Romans chapter 2, verses 29. The Greek words ho and to, kruto, judaios, kai, peritome, cardias, and pneumati, o, grammati, o, ho, epainos, ex, anthropon, al, ek, to, diu. Literal translation. But what in Jew is inside and heart, circumcised in spirit, not in written one, but on approval from a human, but from the God. NRSV translation is, rather a person is a Jew who is one inwardly, and real circumcision is a matter of the heart. It is spiritual and not literal. Such a person receives praise not from others, but from God. NIV New English Bible. The true Jew is he who is such inwardly, and the true circumcision is of the heart, directed not by written precepts, but by the Spirit. Such a man receives his commendation not from man, but from God. In order to be circumcised inwardly in his heart as the true Jew, he should be given with an approval from the God, because it should be done in spirit, which means a spirit should be given to him by the Holy Spirit. Therefore, the following are the title of this sermon. Warning to the Jews who doesn't know the limit of law.